Rama Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Yeah, sing loudly. Rama Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Raghuveeram Ranadhiram. Raghuveeram Ranadhiram. Rama Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Satyam eva swarupa Rama. Satyam eva swarupa Rama. Shamadamadi guna vaibhava Rama. Vaibhava Rama. Shamadamadi guna vaibhava Rama. Rama Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Rama Rama Jaya Rama. Raghuveeram Ranadhiram. Raghuveeram Atma Rama Anantanama. Atma Rama Anantanama. Atma Rama Anantanama. Anandatmaka Adbhuta Rama. Anandatmaka Adbhuta Rama. Rama Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Raghuveeram Ranadhiram. Raghuveeram Ranadhiram. Raghuveeram Ranadhiram. Raghuveeram Ranadhiram. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Today the topic, pursuit of happiness. Who in this world does not want to be happy? Every one of us, in every way, we try to achieve that happiness. And not strangely, but surely, this is a topic of all religions as well. What science would like to achieve through material pursuits is the same thing religions try to pursue through philosophical thinking, worship of God, and various other means. Being so, every one of us are fit to know or fit to understand what we really mean by this happiness. Next, it is said in the Bible, the kingdom of God is not food and drink, but righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Spirit. Very many people have this misunderstanding. I get all different types of pizzas, all the sweets and pastries and cakes and chocolates and whatever I want. These are our idea of happiness, and that's what plenty available in probably the heavens. This is the idea people have about heaven. But what does the Bible say? What is righteous and what is peace and what is joy in one's own Holy Spirit? That is heaven. Next, if you take Judaism, Jewish religion, that man is disciplined and happy who can prevail over turmoil that springs from desire and anger here on earth before he leaves the body. This is of course Gita. Next, the Holy Spirit rests on him only who has a joyous heart. That is according to Talmud, that is Judaism. I will just elucidate on this point of how Bhagavad Gita looks at it, and I will explain it a little later. According to our Upanishads and Gita, there are 3 levels of joy or happiness. The first level is referred as prasad, serenity, tranquility. The second level is referred as shanti, peace, the higher than prasad. The third is sukham. Bhagavad Gita does not use the word ananda anywhere. Krishna therefore refers to that state of complete joy uncreated by the world outside, which is found within, which is called as the spirit, the joy of the spirit, as sukham. I will explain this a little later, so only because the point came here. As similar to that of the Jewish tradition, which is Holy Spirit rests on him only who has a joyous heart. Swami Vivekananda has said, if you call yourself religious, and show an unhappy face, you are not fit to be one. A religious person, a man of spirituality, should express and constantly give out and distribute joy to everybody. And that is the reason why when we are initiated into monkhood, we are always given the last name Ananda. We're supposed to be happy. Because many times we are given a name, we have nothing to do with the name also. Our parents, with the hope that this fellow will live up to it, they give that name. One fellow was a beggar and he was given name Dhanpal. So he was very, very unhappy about that. So he said, what name my parents have given and what state I am in? I am poor and I am given Dhanpal. This is very bad. So he walked around. Then one person's house he went. Very thin, very frail looking person. So he went to beg to his house. So he gave him some money. So he happened to ask him, what is your name? He said, Mahabahu. He said, it is definitely, it is a trend in this world that name has nothing to do with the character of the person. So, look at your name and find out whether you live up to that. Do you? Yes or no? Some people have names which have no meaning at all. So what can you do with that? Juju, Gugu, Mumu, no meaning. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just nice to call, that's all. But if you are given a sensible name, if you can live up to it, that itself is the goal of life. So, Ananda is given as a last name to all of us. We have to live up to that joy and give that joy to everybody. Next. So we see no person knows what delights of the eye are kept hidden for them as a reward for their good deeds according to Islam. So what is there for us to experience? Nirvana is the manifestation of perfect rest and cessation of changes. But at the time of manifestation, there is not even a concept of manifestation. So it is called the everlasting joy, which has neither enjoyer nor a non-enjoyer. According to Buddhism, which does not believe in presence of God or creation as such. So it says there is always joy. This manifestation and manifestation of the world that happens around us need not, should not ever disturb that joy which is already there, the Buddhahood. So, as we see in all religions, the essential point is reach that happiness which you are seeking within yourself. Some of the religions portray that as the heaven, paradise, place of joy, place of everlasting joy, deathlessness. As I often quote in Kathopanishad, there is a statement when the Nachiketa talks to his teacher, Yama, the Lord of Death. He says, I want to know about the heaven where I am sure you are not there. You teach me a place where you will not be. Natatra tvam na jaraya bibedi. You are not going to be there and there is nobody who is going to be old. Because old age leads to death, and therefore, when you are not there, there is no old age. There is no hunger and thirst. So that's the place I call it as heaven. So all religions, as we see in Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, Hinduism, all major religions point out to the same thing. The ultimate aim of human existence is to discover everlasting joy. Good. Now, as we move further, next. In different cultures, it is also found that they also seek this inner happiness only. In Western culture, usually, we see the joy is in the form of reflection of personal achievement. Each one of us as individuals, how much we are capable of accomplishing what we want to accomplish. Is a personal success, self-expression, pride, a high sense of self-esteem, a distinct sense of self. That is the reason why from the very young age, children are told, you are what you make out of yourself. Prove yourself, accomplish, stand apart, show how unique you are, find your own success. Constantly the individual is given that kind of a goal. You have to prove who you are. You have to find what is your niche. You have to discover what is best in you and then show it to the world. Have self-esteem. So the Western culture pretty much encourages the individuality, which according to them, when a person feels that I have achieved something, I have accomplished something, then that is his or her success or happiness. Now the ironic point is I'm asking this question, is success gives you happiness or happiness is success? Now be careful when you're answering. Think about it. Is success gives happiness or success equal to happiness, or happiness leads you to success, or happiness is success? What do you say? Now let us take one. Success is happiness. Let us take this point. Now, your idea of success is not my idea of success. So you may say, I am successful, I am very happy, but others are very unhappy about it. So if I say, according to me, this is success. Recently, I happened to talk to one person, one girl, she's a very smart girl in Bombay. And she wrote exam in Maharashtra, University of Maharashtra or Bombay, whatever, recently. And she is one of the bright students, and it's a public or what called board exam, what you call. What they did was, many students, they were all given their hall ticket number or whatever they give. They don't put the name on the answer paper. What they did, many of the students wrote somebody else's number. Let us say there are some 5 bright students and 25 of them are useless. Those 25 of them wrote their 5 numbers all over. So these numbers, 5 numbers, were there in 20 papers. Now they get confused. How can they evaluate this? So the Maharashtra, what do you call that, board or whatever, they decided to give an average, mark to everybody. So one who didn't write anything also, you got them right. He said, I am successful now. And whose cost? Happy. He passed. And where those people who worked hard, they hardly got anything. And it not only one particular, across the country, across the state, all the people have done this. There's some kind of a leakage or whatever it is. Now, I can be successful at the cost of somebody else. Can I consider that as happiness? It may make me happy for a short time. Somebody successfully looted somebody's house. He's happy. Is that happiness? Really? Now, if say happiness is success, that is another thing which we need to think about. So when you have nice food and then after a Sunday, you need a nice lunch, you are very happy. Is that success? Success of what? So, success and happiness, they apparently interrelated. That is the reason why we need to find out what is eternal success, eternal happiness. That is the focus here in the religion, and not temporary excitement, little joy here and there, little achievement, little accomplishment here and there. So one should keep that in mind. These little short wins may not necessarily be the happiness for everlasting happiness. They are all short spurts of joy. That's all. It cannot be true happiness. Because success is also a very relative term. When you are successful, a lot of relatives will come to you. That's also another truth. Now, next. In Latin America and other such places, upbeat attitude is considered as happiness. Feeling good. So you can do that by, dressing up well, putting a lot of makeup, and then living up to the trend, having the latest fashion, slippers and shoes and dress and hairstyle and coloring, and then hanging many things on your body, all those things. Just upbeat attitude. Feeling high, feeling great, feeling noticed, feeling important, celebrity status, being known for something which others look up to you, external or internal. Whereas in the Asian country like Japan, next, adherence to particular cultural standard in the form of fulfilling the expectations of the family, meeting social responsibilities, self-discipline, cooperation, friendliness, being part of the society and enjoying or being participant of the family, a community, a group of people, an association. Now that gives them the feeling of happiness. Some other Asian countries, next, it is blessings from heavenly sources. Especially in India, when we receive blessings from elders, blessings from God, that is considered as happiness. That's why people go to Tirupati, most of the time. Oh, this time when I went to Tirupati, that's happiness for me. I went to this holy place, I went to pilgrimage, I went to a place where I got the blessings of the elders. I don't know nowadays, but usually it is. Because when you go and meet a elderly person, when they give blessings to you, that considered as joy. Next slide. When asked how happy they are, people tend to consider first their current emotional state as happiness. The trouble is that the person's mood can fluctuate from moment to moment. Are you happy? Somebody would say, right now, yes. I'm not sure about after some time. And if you keep asking me the same question, I'll become unhappy about it. In Bhagavad Gita, 3 types of happiness is talked about. Sattvika, Rajasika and Tamasika. Last week I had a 1-week session at Bakersfield on this topic, moods of the mind. What is that Sattvikam Sukham? Sattvika Sukham. It is of the nature of pursuing knowledge. And the happiness that derived out of knowledge is called Sattvika. I don't know something and I happen to know that very clearly and understand that joy, that is the Sattvik. The mind seeks to know. The mind does not want to remain in ignorance. It wants to learn. It wants to understand. It wants to discover. Whether it's in the spiritual field or the scientific field or any field, that curiosity of the mind to know, to understand, to discover, to figure it out, and then that joy, that is Sattvik. Sukha sangena badnadi, jnana sangena chanaka. Bhagavan Krishna says. So that is the nature of joy of the sattvic pure nature. Whereas the second type of joy which Krishna talks about is rajasikam, which is born out of trishna sanga, trishna and asakti. Wanting to get what one does not have and wanting to protect what one already has. This is the joy of the rajasic type, which is basically making an individual get bound to action. The first one is bound to knowledge, second one is bound to action. That individual is not just satisfied with knowledge, he would like to engage in action, acquire, prove, and then get benefit out of what he understood. And then whatever he does not have, he wants to gain it, and whatever he has, he'd like to protect and secure it. That kind of happiness is what is referred as rajasikam. The third type is very familiar to all of us: sleep. Pramada, alasya, nidra. Inadvertence, erroneousness, unclear, unmindful, unproductive. Laziness, nidra, sleep. That's the joy, tamasic nature. So Krishna explains these three as different kinds of sukham, that is rajasikam, sattvikam, rajasikam, tamasikam. So problem is that at any given point of time, it's one, and which is very short, it stays, and afterwards it disappears. How many of us now, you are sitting there and listening, therefore you find some joy in gaining some knowledge, fine. But as soon as you get out of, or even before that, I have to go there, I have to do this, I have to finish this, I have to accomplish this. So the karma comes. Now at the end of the day, and everything is done, and sleep. Khana kha ke so jayenge. So that's a joy. So you can never be sure what is the state of mind at any given point of time. So can we consider that short span of time or state of mind as happiness? Some people say so. Second thing is, next, the happiest nations, mostly Western individual ones, also tend to have the highest level of suicide. Somebody said me recently about the guns, the number of people died out of gunshots in some of the Asian countries, the whole year is maybe 20, 50, 100. In United States, 9,000. I'm not a gun control pro or something like that, don't consider that. But what I'm saying is, people tend to have more insecurity about themselves. In spite of feeling high about their individual success, there is a constant fear lurking in their heart about their own insecurity, or not able to maintain this joyful state, get into depression and leading to suicide. So the so-called happiest nations, all those which have maximum suicide also. Next. One of the most significant observations is that in industrialized nations, average happiness has remained virtually static since the Second World War, despite a considerable rise in average income. The joy, happiness in average remains the same. So what do you mean by since Second World War? In spite of all the industrialization, in spite of all the development, in spite of all the technology, in spite of more and more comforts and conveniences that we have acquired over a period of time, mind has not changed. Our conveniences, our Gurudev used to say, the poor countries, people live uncomfortably and unhappily. In a developed country, people live comfortably, unhappy. The unhappiness is nothing to do with comfort. They are uncomfortably unhappy as a comfortably unhappy. Swamiji, it's better to be comfortably unhappy than uncomfortably unhappy, you see. Next. Parents don't often teach their children about happiness. Have you ever been on vacation and seen them stop the car and point and say, look at what a beautiful mountain valley. See that old tree and how beautifully it's catching the light. They are more focused on how well the children are doing in the school. And the children are also watching their DVD behind in the back seat. Windows are up there. They don't even look outside. Their happiness is in a small box. They are not enjoying what is out there, which is natural and spontaneous and available all the time. And nowadays, not this here. Palm happiness. So, you see, happiness is contained in a small box. There is one, I think there is, I saw somewhere, it's, I think, coconut drink or something. Happiness in a bottle. There's an advertisement, right? You've seen that? Happiness in a bottle. That is to show that your happiness is contained only little this much. So parents are also so concerned about how my children are doing and then how competitive they are. Next, people who have a nice weekend and cannot be happy because on Sunday afternoon they are already starting to think about going to work on Monday. And at work they are thinking they are not happy because they don't see their children enough. I might have told this story long time. Many times I repeat this particular story because it's very touching. This man comes back home after a long day, and his son is a young boy, some 2-year-old. He came running, Daddy, I have to ask you a question. He was very tired. And what do you want to ask me? I want to know how much you make per an hour. Oh, a 2-year-old and you are asking this question to me, how much I make per hour? Go to your room and play. I'm sure it is your mom who is asking this question. Go. So I said, okay. He went. So the man went into shower and then had a nice cup of coffee and he was lying and he was reading a newspaper. He felt bad, made his son very unhappy. So he went to his room. Johnny, yes. Sorry, I shouted at you. It's all right, Dad. So, can I play with you? Can you tell me how much you make per hour? You again? Okay, I'll tell you. $20 an hour. $30 an hour. $30 an hour? Suddenly, he picked up a pillow. Behind the pillow, he had some money. 10, 15. Gave it to him and said, Daddy, can you spend half an hour with me? What do you feel? What do you think? Meaning, the child knows unless you are paid, you will not spend time with me. This is a state of affair with people who consider money and all other, success in this world more important than being available for one's own children. And they feel bad about it, but what's the point? While you are in vacation, you are thinking about the work, and when you are work, you are thinking about not spending time with your children. So, this is the condition of people who are pursuing happiness. But next, young adults who focus on money, image, and fame tend to be more depressed, have less enthusiasm for life, and suffer more physical symptoms such as headaches and sore throats than others. The high price for materialism. Because they tend to be more anxious, they tend to look at themselves as, underachieving, and therefore constantly trying to make it up. And in the process, they fail to look at their physical health, mental health, and they don't take care of it, and they tend to be more and more depressed as even they were very young. because around them they're all competition all the time, and then they want to live up to that, and if they cannot, the price they have to pay is their own health. Next. Even hard-headed economists tend to agree that the key to making people happier is to shift from economic growth, which fuels the consumerist culture that is antithetical to happiness, to personal growth. So economic growth, as we see in, yesterday I had a small discussion on this point. And I was coming from Bakersfield to here yesterday, Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock. It is so crowded. I mean, it's like any other day, weekday. I want to think, why people are on the road on a Saturday afternoon? So somebody next to me said, you are also the same case. But, why so many people? Why not you just take rest? No. So today is 24 hours work. So by the time you come in the evening, the Asia has woken up, and then you work for the Asia. By the time you finish that, then here it wakes up. Saturday, Sunday, there's nothing called Saturdays, and nothing called vacation. So that is why in the earlier times, religions have made sure that on a Sunday you should not even touch a paper. Why did they do that? No, they know that finally people have to be forced not to work. So if you say this, so much of cars on the road and this and that, you consider that as an economically booming society, because everybody can afford cars and everybody can afford to go here and there, and so much of crowd in the airports and everywhere you go, people feel good, people are moving, there's a lot of activity going on. But that is economic growth and not personal growth. People tend to trying to find happiness not in their own place. They have to go somewhere, do something, achieve something, and then probably if they have time, enjoy what they achieve. So the shift from economic material growth to personal growth is what will. Now there are very many notions of happiness. Next. Few of us can accurately gauge how we will feel tomorrow or next week. That's why when you go to supermarket on an empty stomach, you will buy too much. And if you stop after a big meal, you will buy too little. So next time when you're taking your wife to shopping, make sure that she eats first. When your stomach is full, you buy less. I am not joking, it is true. If you go hungry to a shop, you will buy more. Is it possible for us to therefore determine how we will feel at the end of the day, next hour, tomorrow? We cannot, because we tend to be fluctuating according to what happens to us, around us. Our happiness is always according to what is happening. So our shift from economic growth or material growth to personal growth will happen only when we decide, in spite of what is outside, I can decide my joy. This is where Upanishads, Gita and other scriptures are focusing. You decide your state of mind, not the world, not anybody else. And that is where the spirituality comes into picture. You need to decide that. Next. I understand. Eating is the best thing. Food is the source of happiness. Because food is considered as an expression of love. Parents to children, wife to husband, friends to friend. Two friends went to a pizza shop. And then they ordered. One of them ordered, and then they brought. He made it to two pieces. One is bigger, another is small. So the fellow who ordered, he took the big piece. The other guy was very unhappy. So he said to him, "Had it been me, I would have given you the big piece and you would have taken the small one." So the other fellow said, "That's what happened even now. What's your problem?" So food is considered one of, that's why when you have religious program, next one. So food is an expression of religious solidarity. Many times when we have a Mahashivaratri, etc., we get calls. I'm not joking. It's just not a bluff. Definitely, I'll tell you. Around 10 o'clock in the morning, people call us. Yeah. You have Shivaratri program? Yes. When is the prasad? They don't ask when is the program, when is the puja, when is the prasad, when is the lunch. Because they consider any religious program means food. Food is important. Because that is happiness. Next, food is a friend. Substitute for emotional problems, company for loneliness, compensates lack of relationship. The obesity is caused by this because they consider this as happiness. Especially sweets. This is called royal among the food. That's why even if you are taken up to this food, when it comes to sweet, somehow it will find a way inside. Like a king, when he comes, people move away like that. That's why they keep the name Bahadur Shah, Jahangir, royal sweets. Next. They are music, sports, exercise, relaxation, sleep, removing mental blocks, self-integration. So these are all considered as other source of happiness. But one thing which you notice is that all of them they need to depend upon something external. So next slide. Can we plan our happiness? It's possible. Spend time with the family and friends. It's more valuable than money, health, and pleasure of things. Or one can develop the sense of humor. Laugh at yourself first. Share jokes. Or in the spiritual side, you can go to meditation. Keep the world outside your room. Forgive all. Let go. So there are things which are independent of the world, things that don't require somebody else to be there. These are also another source of happiness. These tend to start your personal growth. Make sure that your happiness is not necessarily depending upon things outside, where you can create happiness of your own choice. Being with people, focus on health, and also humor, meditation, prayer. These also can create required amount of happiness. Especially humor. Next. So the art of medicine consists of amusing the patient while nature cures the disease cells. A happy heart cures very fast. A person is depressed and even takes as much medicine as he wants, but nothing happens. Humor helps us cope, conquer, and carry on. Next. A good laugh is not only the result of happiness, it is often also the cause. It's contagious. Next, the body heals with play, the mind heals with laughter, and the spirit heals with joy. So the happy heart can be contagious. You can give joy to another by you being happy and laughing. And there are people who do the laughter yoga, right? Ha 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 ha. You know, sometimes you look at it, it looks very artificial. Once I was in Delhi, our ashram is in Lodi estate. So when I stay there, once in a while when I go there, opposite to us is Lodi Gardens. So I used to go for a walk morning. So one day I was going there 5:30 or 6 o'clock. A lot of people at that time. Because Delhi, during summer it's very hot during the day. People go for a walk in the early morning. So when I went there, one place there's so many people laughing. I said something is going on there. So there are some 25-30 people standing in a circle, ha 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 ha, laughing loudly. And I looked at it and said, what's wrong with them? I did not know about that at that time. So I went closer to them. They pulled me inside. Now laugh. For what? No, just laugh. And that considered, they keep the hand like this and start laughing. I went very miserable after coming back. Next, humor your way to happiness. The best exercise is jumping with joy. Joy is the serious business in the heaven. We begin to solve our problems when we begin to see humor in them. Our Gurudev, for example, was such a humorous person. I mean, our own Swami Tejaman also, so many. We see the saints tend to have the knack of, or the habit of, or the skill of looking at situations in a very humorous way. On the other day, I went to Barnes and Noble, and there was a section where philosophy, self-growth, whatever it is there. So serious books. Behind that, humor section. I understood. Other side of philosophy is humor. Only when you are humorous and happy, you will see the things differently. When you have a narrow perception and a very negative attitude towards things, you would not see the truth behind hidden there. In a joyful and a simple heart, you will see things very plainly. Time spent laughing is time spent with the gods, is a Japanese proverb. If it feels good to laugh, then laugh to feel good. A sense of humor is not inherited, it is learned. As I said, great this ability. Great saints, realized that they did not get peace from outside. They realized that they already had it when they simply stopped disturbing it. Next, open your heart to the higher self. So, people who are thinkers tend to understand that humor really makes you human. Have you seen a dog laughing? A cat, a rat? Have you seen? Probably they are laughing at us, we don't know. But we don't see them laughing at us. A human, what is the difference between human and not human? Because human have the ability to laugh and take it lightly. So our Gurudev has said in many places, happiness is a state of mind to start with. Mind disturbed is sorrow, dukkam. Restful mind is happy, sukham. So happiness equal to next number of desires fulfilled divided by number of desires entertained. So if I have 50 desires and 10 of them are fulfilled, I am 1/5 happy. If I have 100 desires and I have 50 of them fulfilled, then I am half happy. So most of us have more desires than how much we fulfill. So Gurudev used to say, to increase your happiness next, do you want to increase the numerator or a denominator? Numerator. What? Which is denominator? I get always confused. I am very poor in math. Below is what? That's exactly what I am saying. Decrease the denominator and increase the numerator. So what happens if you have 20 desires and 10 of them fulfilled, only when half of you are happy? If you have 0 desires, even one gets fulfilled, whatever comes to you. Yadrichcha santushtaha. Krishna says, Yadrichcha santushtaha. Whatever comes, he is happy. Because his expectation is 0. Then 1 by 0 what? That's the infinite happiness. So the everlasting infinite happiness is ours when we keep decreasing the denominator. But what we tend to do in the worldly sense is we keep on increasing the denominator, and apparently the numerator is not in our control. So the spirituality focuses on how to decrease denominator. How to decrease. That is why in this context, let me tell you this. So Krishna says in Gita chapter 2, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyescharan atmavashyer vidayatma prasadam adhigacchati. He starts by saying, a person when he decreases his likes and dislikes in this world, he gets the state of mind which is called prasad, serenity, self-poised, self-composed. Continuing, he says, Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyo upajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishthati. When the mind has reached the state of serenity, there is a decrease in getting unhappy. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi. Prasanna chetaso hyashu. Such a mind which is serene, such a mind can easily get into meditation. Buddhi paryavatishthate. Nasti buddhirayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayadashanti hashantasya kutasukam. When the mind can gain that ability to stay quiet in meditation, he gains what is known as shanti, peace. And the peace leads him to sukham, anand. So the equation that is given by Krishna is, gain serenity by decrease of likes and dislikes. Such a mind which is peace, has gained serenity, can meditate and gain peace, and that peace you will find it leading to, when it is maintained in all different situations in life, there is sukham. Prashanta manasam yenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaidi shantarajasam brahmabodham akalmasham. The person whose mind is prashanta, pleasant, peaceful, he gains the everlasting sukham, atyantikam sukham. That's why he says ashantasya kudas sukham. If mind is not peaceful, where is the question of happiness? So state of serenity by decrease of strong likes and dislikes. That serenity leads to natural state of meditation. That leads to true discovery of happiness within you. That's the method Krishna prescribes. Sorry. As you know, in economics, diminishing returns is also called diminishing marginal returns, or the law of diminishing returns. According to this relationship, in a production system with fixed and variable inputs, beyond some point, each additional unit of variable input yields less and less additional output. At some point of time, it reaches the peak, and then more you give it, less you gain. It happens in our habits also. One sweet probably gives you happiness. The second one will not give the same happiness. It actually decreases. And the fifth one, you have to go to the doctor. Stomach pain. So the happiness is gone out of that thing. It's not there actually originally to start with. It's a notion. The distinction between peace and happiness is to be understood. Peace is within, expresses as happiness in the mind when the right contact with the world is maintained, fully understanding the need for self-control to enjoy life. Our view of life determines our state of mind. Next. So a same situation can give happiness to one and unhappiness to another. It is a view of life or view of the situation, and not the situation as it is. So if the mind is serene and peaceful, then your view of life, irrespective of what is there in front of you, can be a source of joy. But if it is not, if your mind is not in a serene state of, if it is agitated, even the most pleasant situation can be most unhappy. So that's what we see in many of our daily situations. When the mind is really agitated and disturbed, even the most happy thing for you, let us say some food or somebody whom you like, no, they don't give the same happiness. So the focus should be how to make our mind, away from the strong oscillations of likes and dislikes. That is why again and again Krishna in many places in Gita says, Tulya ninda studir moni santushto yena kenachit anikeda stiramadihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Mind who is serene, it is not oscillating too much, it is not fluctuating too much. Such a mind definitely is my devotee. Now I'll give you some tips for happiness. 8 ways to change your view of life. How to change the view of life. First one is, you cannot be unhappy unless you wish to. Next. The lady says, I wish for no housework, no cooking, no cleaning. Woof, he became a man. She became a man. So be careful what you are wishing for. Gurudev would say, don't put your key to your happiness in somebody else's pocket. See, people cannot make us unhappy unless we become vulnerable to that. Yesterday I was talking somewhere, I was telling them, if you give a golden coin and a chocolate to a 1-year-old child, which one it will prefer? It will take the golden coin, put it in his mouth, throw it away, and then take the chocolate. Now, his view of life is what? I want chocolate. See, it does not understand the value of that golden coin, right? In the same way, when we do not value inner peace, we go for the chocolate outside. That's our problem. In Gita also there is a statement, Samaloshtashma Kanchanaha. A yogi is same whether it's a mud, stone or gold. Interestingly, I read this story. One boy, he was very depressed and he was about to commit suicide. And he went towards the end of the city and then he was about to jump off the cliff. And as he was going, he saw one yogi sitting there under a tree meditating. And because of the sound, the yogi opened his eyes and looked at this boy going towards the cliff. Hey, where are you going? He said, I'm depressed, I'm totally dejected. I'm good for nothing, I'm going to jump off the cliff. What's your problem? The yogi asks. You cannot solve it because you don't yourself have nothing, and how can you solve my problem? No, you tell me, what's your problem? I have a lot of debt, a lot of money I have to pay to people, and I don't know where I'm going to get this money, and I borrowed it so much, and I cannot pay. That's all. What do you mean by that's all? See, and he showed a slush, with mud and all. There, you see, just dig it. Now, what am I going to do there? And you just dig it. So he went and dug that. He found a stone. That stone is called parasmani. What does it do? You rub that against anything, it will become gold. Don't tell me, but try. You rubbed against some stone, it became gold. Another stone, it became gold. He was so overjoyed. My God, I can solve all my problems. I got so much money. So he went on rubbing few stones, and then he got enough handful of gold. And he took that stone also and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because his problem is solved now. So he took them and he started walking away. So the yogi closed his eyes and he was sitting. Suddenly the boy, he put all the stones there and the gold, everything came to him. I have to ask you a question. What? You know about this? Yes. And still you gave it to me? Yes. That means you have found a greater joy than this. Tell me what that is, tell me. If you are able to let go of the gold itself, you must be finding something greater than gold. So we tend to give value for something which the world gives value. And we don't value something which is already there. That's why yogi is a samaloshta ashma kanchana. Samaloshta ashma kanchana. Meaning mud or stone or gold, for him it is all same because he doesn't have value for what the world values. Because our desires are more than what we actually can manage, we tend to look for things that can solve our desires instead of dissolving them. That is the reason why our Gurudev also said, decrease the denominator. Then you find how easily you can be happy. Not pursuing the fleeting world, but finding this tranquility within. So you cannot be unhappy unless you wish to. Accept what you cannot. Next. Do not worry about what others think of you. If you look at the mirror and see a bare belly, bald head, big round red nose, varicose veins, you can read it. Oh, very good. And then the complexion like a leather. Look on the bright side. At least your eyesight is good. So look at the other side of the coin all the time, which is brighter. Next tip for you to stop thinking about what is wrong with others. That will give you a lot of happiness. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. I had a children's camp last week in Bakersfield, and one of the topics we have Nauda Bhakti from Ramayana. So one of the qualities of a devotee in Ramayana, Tulsi Ramayana, it says, don't even think about negativities of others, even in the sleep or even in dream. Don't look at what's wrong with others even. So what I did was, as an exercise, I told all of them, before I taught them about this, I told them to write down what is negativity in themselves and what they see as negativity in one of them in the room, in the classroom. So each one of them wrote this and that. So I picked up all of them. So they said, Swamiji, are you going to tell that what I'm thinking about her or him? I said, don't worry, I would not do that. So one person wrote, very talkative. Next one, this lady girl is very talkative. Actually his own sister. So he looked at me. Don't worry. I said, somebody in this room thinks you are a very expressive person. So that person said, that's good. See, I think negative of a person, but I don't want that person to I don't want him to know. But then you can say the same thing in a very different way. So another person wrote, she's very intense person. So I read, one person in this room thinks you are extremely concentrated upon achieving the best. Because the negative of a person, we tend to look at it as wrong. Why not you look at the same thing as a positive, aspect of that person? Somebody seems to be always complaining. We can say he's always looking for perfection. That is also right. And another person said, she's very stubborn. I said, she's very well determined. You can say the same thing in a different way. Make the person feel. So when you start thinking negative about a person, first thing that happens is you tend to develop that attitude. What is wrong with others? What is wrong? As he said, if you are thinking what is wrong with others, you will have no time to love them. Know that every addiction has unhappy consequences. After 6 beers, you look like this. Before the 6 beers, you look like that. So addiction has got its own consequences. Please understand, anywhere we get addicted, it has to have some impact on our physical and psychological personality. We tend to say that, okay, after all, it's only a physical habit. Every physical habit over a period of time becomes a psychological problem. Anytime you insist upon something, over unduly you insist upon something, it will have a psychological impact upon your personality. Either you cannot live without that, which will become very painful to you without living that, or you tend to fight to get it. Your body itself is like that. Yesterday I was talking to someone which discussing about this. How about muscular memory? Most of our habits have muscular memory. It tend to go for it even with you if you don't think about it. Have you seen that? Even you don't need to think about your habits. You naturally go that in that direction. Basically, I was putting in the context of when Sri Rama was walking in the forest looking for Sita. He happened to go towards Shabari's abode, and Lakshmana asked, "Where are you going?" He said, "Muscular memory." Meaning, I tend to get gravitated towards the people of devotion. I don't even know where I'm going, but my body is being dragged towards this direction because wherever there is love, I cannot stop. I have to reach there. So on the positive side, that is good, but the negative side, many of our habits, we don't even know consciously that we are doing this. It happens. And if you consciously stop it, it creates psychological problems as well. So understand every addiction has got unhappy consequences, and we have to know that and stop that if it is drastic in your. Another one, bear inconveniences on the way to inner peace. You will never get to work in time. So what do you mean by that? On the way to your own achievements, there will be a lot of impediments, and that can make you unhappy. But understand, nothing can be decided by you, by yourself, when it comes to factors outside you which are more in number. See, let us, for example, if I have to go to sleep, it's my decision, and I can go to bed and then sleep. In my case, I'm telling you. If I want to eat, I have to depend upon all others who may bring food which probably may like, I may not like. Now, when you are depending upon others, how much you can be sure about your happiness? The more the number of factors determining your experience, the less you can predict. Correct? In your workplace also, if you want to get something done, if it is exclusively that you have to do, there is no problem. But if there are 10 people involved in that process, then expect the disaster to happen. Therefore, when it comes to more people engaging in deciding or doing a thing, bear the inconveniences, setbacks, drawbacks, limitations, failures. So therefore, prepare your mind for that kind of possibilities. Then you will not be very unhappy about it. So bear inconveniences on the way to inner peace. The last but not the least one. Peace is in the present moment. Cherish it. Present is a gift. Presence is a greater gift. What is presented to you today will be exclusively for you. This moment is for you as a gift from the Lord. But your presence here, that is most important, the greater gift. Every moment is a gift for us. But if you are not available in that moment, you lose that greatest gift. So live in the presence. That's what Upanishads and the Gita and everything would say, that use that present moment the best, and you will find the greatest gift of life, happiness. All right. So we have seen varieties of things, what the various religions say, what is the trend in various cultures, what are the sources of happiness, food and music and sports and exercise and many other things. Humor as a choiceful happiness which you can determine. The three levels of happiness which according to Gita, one is prasada, another is shanti, another is sukham, and how our view of life changes our way of happiness. And when we change the view, we definitely can determine our happiness. Don't put the happiness in somebody else's pocket. So if you have any questions, please do ask.
Just 1 second, I'll get the mic to you.
No, the others can also listen when you are asking. Yes, tell me.
The distinction between peace and happiness was not very clear.
Okay. So peace is the state of mind where it is undisturbed. An undisturbed mind can find the happiness which is already there. It's like in your sleep where you are able to find joy in spite of not having anything outside. So when at the time of when you are after we wake up, you say I slept happily. My happiness is not caused by anything. Because of the mind becoming peaceful, the joy which is already there within you gets to express. So that is why the peace leading to happiness. Yes, somebody there.
What is said in our Gita?
Closer.
We say that if you want to be happy, you must control your mind, or you must be your.
Come again.
You must be your mind, or you must control your mind.
Okay.
Mind is the cause of unhappiness.
Yeah.
We
Good.
just discuss this one.
Good. So at the beginning stages, what we call it as control. See, any control is an effort. Any control or effort requires a lot of energy to do that. But in meditation, what is prescribed is not control, but to witness and not to be enslaved by what's going on in the mind. But to reach that ability to witness the mind, to a certain extent and of control is necessary. So it is like you have a vessel in which you wanted to have milk, to boil the milk. If the vessel is dirty, obviously the milk will also get spoiled. So you clean up the vessel, pour the milk, and then cook it. The cleaning of the vessel is necessary, not for its own sake, for the sake of boiling the milk. In the same way, mind is only a vessel to find happiness. Happiness is not part of that mind. So, mind control is mind cleansing. Chitta Shuddhi we call it as. Once the purity of mind takes place, it is easy to discover the happiness. So when the mind has become relatively quiet, the ability to watch what happens in the mind is also possible. So that is the reason why first control is talked about and then witnessing is taken. If why do I need to control? I will directly go to witness, not possible. When the mind is full of thoughts, there is no possibility of becoming a witness because you get caught up in that. So that's why control is spoken before the witness aspect is taken. I can't hear. You can put it. Yeah.
They talk of three things.
Okay.
Jnana, Vairagya, and Bhakti.
Jnana, Vairagya and
Devotion.
Bhakti.
And Lord Krishna has given a simple solution to control the mind. Super.
Okay.
Would you like this explanation?
So, because we have a point of love, it is easy to focus. Because in our own life also, you see, your focus is always on what you tend to love. So, Mahatma Gandhi has made a beautiful statement. He says, your karma, your action expresses priority. So, what you tend to do is what your priority is. So, I tend to do those things more which I consider important. Similarly, if I have love for God, my mind can focus easily and therefore mind won't be distracted that much. So that's why he says bhakti can be an easy means to control the mind. Question.
And so, you're talking about your exercise with the kids in the industry, when the child was very talkative, said, very expressive, and said it's a different way. I'm just a little concerned about the practical application of that day to day. If my 15-year-old son is extremely messy with how he keeps his room, and so if I looked at him and I said, you just let me lead back and don't worry about being organized, put undue pressure on myself when it comes to people. Then, and I just hope that that way of communicating is.
I can't hear a little. Can you come close?
Yeah,
you tend to be
if I don't tell them directly,
Okay.
if I just say, you're just, you don't have undue pressure like the rest of the world, you're just taking day back, how wonderful. Or if my daughter comes late, she gets the appointment for 15 minutes. And if I tell her that you're not obsessed with a certain way of functioning, so that doesn't affect your nervous system in a way that affects others, then direct communication, isn't that better? Like, for example, this child was extremely talkative. It may be very cute, but then she can develop into a person who's very garrulous all the time, and it can be annoying later. So, positive communication versus direct communication.
Okay. Yeah, so I got your point. So, thing is, don't you think it is more better if that person himself or herself understands what can be done better than anybody else telling him? So, there are methods of making the person understand and make that change than it coming from somebody else. So what happens at that age, where you are, say 18, 16, 14, 15, whatever, they don't want anybody to tell them what they need to do. That's their age, that's the way they think. Tell them the consequence of not doing the right thing. And do you enjoy, if you don't work, if you don't get the correct score, if you don't get into a right kind of a university, what would be your future? Just think about it. What about those people who did not do this? Look at them. So you want to be like them. So then you decide what you need to do right now. So instead of saying that you are wrong, say what will be happening if you are wrong. The consequence of it. And you decide. So that person I presume that will happen, that person will think, okay, yes, you are giving a chance for that person to think by himself. So that would be better than many of the kids will say, don't give me sermon. I don't want to listen to it. So better to make sure that the person, the boy or the girl, understands the consequence of their present lethargy, and then know what will happen eventually if they do that. So let the ball be on their court. Let them play as much as possible.
So with teenagers, the experience that typically direct communication works better than me explaining for 15 minutes all of the consequences. If I just say, you have a tendency to be not on time, rather than me just going on, because they shut you off after the first 30 seconds, they have a glazed look in their eyes because they've heard, this all their lives, especially when moms and dads, go, they just know after 5 minutes, you just completely lost them.
But you say that constantly telling them will work? If it works, good. I don't mind. But we can adopt another alternative method and see what happens. You can go back to this anytime you want. But there's nothing wrong in trying some other method to see whether that works or not. So you can try. Last question.
One of the slides you mentioned that one of the ways to be happy is not to worry what others think about you. I want to understand that part where he's told that is important, that you should be
Worried about what others think about you.
In some sense, yeah, that we just cannot be,
So you mean to say you would like to get others' opinion about you to some extent to make yourself happy?
I don't, but I have been told that you should be able to realize what others are thinking about you, what you think about the way you.
Yeah, if it is a positive input by which you can improve, definitely, why not? But what I tend to, I mean, my intention of putting that is, do not take that seriously to make you unhappy. So if you have an ability to take criticism and work on it, it's good. Many of us cannot do it. When somebody criticizes, we tend to look down upon ourselves, and we tend to be unhappy, and then we will change our attitude towards that person as well. So that's what I mean. Yeah, here is the last question.
Respectful Swamiji. Basically, what I want, all these schools of philosophy where we teach about, meditation, wiping ourselves down in day-to-day life. All these philosophies were very easy to maintain in the olden days when life was not so mechanical, so complicated. Today, especially the Western countries, like a machine, get up in the morning, don't go the right way, get off the way from the office, and all these things happen. So how do you assimilate all this meditation, this inner peace, in day-to-day life? So people teaching all these things, how do we actually apply it so that it affects us and makes us much more peace?
See, it is, if we take personal growth in our interest in personal growth, it is easy for us to, it is like when you understand you need health, you need to be healthy, don't you find time to exercise or go for diet and become conscious of what you eat? It is the same way our psychological personality, if it needs to be taken care, we will have to find time. There's no other way. You may probably have to sleep early and get up early. There is some amount of change has to be done. If you say, I do not have time for my own personal growth, I mean, I'm not saying you will, but most people who tend to say that will feel unhappy after some time, because they will find when they are physically becoming old, they do not have the energy to do that. So before we reach a point where we are unable to do such things, we cannot sit straight, we cannot meditate, we cannot, because mind is running all the time. If you can start early, we will avoid that possibility. I have seen people who have practiced meditation or such kind of spiritual practices for a long time. Even as they become old, they are much more happier than others, because they tend to not to take too many things too seriously. The ability to let go is easy. When we have not done these practices and we reach the stage, let us say 70 or 80, at that time to practice anything new is not possible, because the mind is so fixed and it has become so adamant, and it has fixed notions, and it is very tight, it is inflexible. It's just like our physical body becomes inflexible, and then we tend to have a lot of pain out of that. So same way. So earlier the better, and definitely we need to find time for this. There's no other choice. Abhyasena kaunteya vairagyena cha grishyate. That's what it said. Yeah, we'll have the announcements. And also, after announcement, please wait for a short time. Raj Manta had some information. Or you are going to do that? Which one? Oh, okay.